Hi everyone, so welcome to Moonlight Projects and our van conversion project. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. So if you haven't seen any of our other videos, please do check them out. Hopefully we can actually get a good day. So let's talk through what we're going to be doing today. How mad is that? Okay, so these are the side panels that I actually want to cover up. These ones here that go up to the roof, across the top, and then comes back down the side here, and then drops down to the bottom, etc. That's what I actually want to cover up with carpet, and of course it covers around the top there, so that when the timber actually butts up against the side, for example, like so, then it sort of creates that nice finish. So I'm going to put a bit of a vapor barrier on here. That just gives us a little bit of extra protection from any sort of cold surfaces. So I'm going to put the vapor barrier back on there, because I did cut some off before, and actually I've changed my mind now, so I'm going to put it back on. So vapor barrier up on there, and then I'm going to stick that down with the trim fix, and I'll show you what that is, and put the vapor barrier over the top of it, and then we'll carpet it afterwards. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I've got the vapor barrier in, which is going to sit underneath the carpet trim. So that's going to wrap around all the way around, back in there, down to the bottom. And what I'm probably going to do is cut a complete length to wrap around all the way. so I've managed to get the carpet on the actual trim now, and it's absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love it. Absolutely brilliant. Only one slight problem though. I ran out of spray. So what I'm gonna have to do, I've done the bit that I need to, because I wanted to get this carpet in so I can actually do the roof, because I need to get that out of the garage now. But I have kind of like run out of spray, so what I'm gonna have to do is order some more, because I want to do the doors anyway, well, part of the door, and yeah, that's a bit annoying, so I have to get an order in. Okay, so I want to just briefly talk about the electrics for this particular stage, because you know, before the actual cladding goes up, it'd be good just to point out what's going on behind. So basically what I've got is I've got some cables that are coming down here. We showed it previously. Basically what we've got here is the cables literally just coming up through into the roof. So we've got one coming off to the fan, which will be going through the vapour barrier, in between the vapour barrier and the insulation that's on the roof, and then feeding through. So I've got one cable that comes up here independent to the fan, which will be hooked up later. So I've got one cable feed which will be for 2 lights at the front here, that runs through here. I've got one cable feed that comes in through here into the bulkhead, and then I've got one feed that runs up here into the back, so I actually have 2 lights which will be on a dim setting, so I can actually dim the lights. So with the lights themselves, what I've got is this singular cable that's coming in, so twin core, so that's labelled up. So you've got backlights and then you've got the battery. So they come into this join here, and these are sort of piggyback connectors. So it allows you to actually put a connector in there. So for example, the positive and the negative of the lights will come in here, and then that allows it to continue on to the back, and then again piggyback connectors, so you've got positive, negative coming off. And I've tested this with a literally just a little 9-volt battery, just for the circuit, just to test to make sure that the lights work, but also that the dimmer works. Because that's going to be on the underside of the cladding, so I need to make sure that that works before the cladding goes on, which is cool. So that's sort of the basic setup that I have. That will come through here, through the panel in here to here, which will be some sort of switch panel, and then that switch panel then runs through the garage back to the battery, which will be in the back there. So that's the basic sort of electrics that I have for the roof so far. Okay, so moving on to the roofing cladding, I've been playing around with the burnt effect. So what I've been using is a sort of plumber's blowtorch, and basically scorching the surface of the cladding. So it's just a slightly thicker cladding this time. So the other one was the time was about 8mm. This time was about 16mm, just so it's a little bit more rigid and less susceptible to breaking. So this one's just a This one's already been broken anyway, so this is just a sample piece that I've been playing around with, and you can see where I started off. I got a little bit close and on for too long, so the trick here really is keeping it nice and close to the surface and consistently all the way across, and try not to stop. If you stop, then that's when you're going to get these sort of burn marks appearing. So yeah, like I say, I've been just using a plumber's blowtorch for this, and it's come out really well. So I'm hoping to finish this off with some Danish oil, and then that'll actually, you know, look really nice for the ceiling, create that's featured ceiling that I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and play around with that, and hopefully all the bits come out like the first one. Okay, so I've just finished the last piece of cladding, and I'm really happy of how it's actually turned out. You can really see how the grain has popped out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat this with a Danish oil, and then hopefully that will actually, you know, preserve it and won't affect too much of the grain itself. I didn't want to end up putting like a clear varnish on, because I didn't want this like sort of shiny sheen. What I want to do is obviously make that grain pop out even more, but also protect it. So yeah, really happy that's turned out really well. So I'm just going to crack on with the Danish oil and applying that. Okay, so the next job of today is to look at the roofing cladding. So I've burnt this and treated this in previous videos, and it's finally time to actually get these bits of cladding in the roof. So I'm planning to use these screws here, which is a bit of a mushroom sort of head, in order to fix it into the roof. In the roof we had like strips of these ply fixed to the roof, so I plan to go through the cladding into this timber, and the reason why we're using screws rather than nails is just in case we need to access the electrics for any reason later on down the road. Look, if there's a fault or something along those lines, at least we've got some sort of access. I did think about just using like a second fix nail gun and nailing it up, but that would mean if I do have a fault, then it might damage the wood in order to actually get it off. So decided to go for a screw instead, although obviously it creates this sort of I know I could paint it up afterwards if I need to, but I can't get hold of any black ones, so silver it's going to have to be like the zinc effect. So I'm going to transfer that into the roof of the van. So I'm going to cut it down to length. This end's going to have a MDF or some sort of furniture board or whatever I decide at the end there. So that's going to get covered up, any sort of rough cuts. And then for this end, planning to have like a rope sort of finish around the trim, which I think will look really cool. So again, if it's for any reason they have slight rough finish, then that rope is gonna cover that up. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be absolutely fine. It shouldn't have any sort of splitting. So fingers crossed that these boards will go in well. And I need to countersink, not countersink, sorry, I need to do a pilot hole before these screws go in, otherwise it has a otherwise it'll actually split the wood. So make sure you pilot hole as you screw in at each of the points on the roof, and then we'll drill some holes for the electrics to poke through later on. Cool, let's get to it. Okay, so just before I close this up, I thought I'd actually show you the lights actually in situ. So you can see where the cable actually comes through the roof and connects onto these piggyback connectors that I showed you earlier. And then I basically got this feed here, which is the white cable, which is the LED light. So you've got the positive and the negative, and that's quite simply screwed in underneath by two screws, if you can see that. See if it'll focus. There we go, just two screws underneath, and I'll screw that back up. So this one here runs to this section here, which is just a single connector for the positive negative, so it ends there, whereas the other cable runs underneath here through the panel and then out here. So that's where the switch is going to be, and then that will carry on into the garage. So I just thought I'd show you that before it got closed up, because it might be harder to explain afterwards. Wicked. Right, I'm going to carry on. so I was putting on the cladding last night, and I was doing really well, and you know, I got pretty much like halfway across the van, which was really cool, and you know, decided to actually test the lights, and I was doing this whilst I was you know, installing, and you know, it seemed absolutely fine, and then I decided, after I just put a couple of extra bits of cladding on after the lights, to just hook it up to the leisure battery, just to make sure that that circuit was okay, because I've just been using a little 9-volt battery just to do some testing, and it was working fine at that point. And then when it came time to the leisure battery, it tripped the circuit, and I was scratching my head, did a load of testing, trying to figure out what was going on, and then decided just to kind of, yeah, just quit last night, because it was just, I couldn't go any further. I was gonna have to take off the cladding, so and go back to the lights again, which was really annoying. And I found the problem. I'm a bit embarrassed to show this because it was a bit of a dumbass thing to do, but maybe you can see it on the camera somewhere there. But anyway, I put a screw, well, 2 screws actually, through the electrical cable. Now, I moved where the lights were going to go, and because of this, the recess that I'd actually cut out for the cable to go through no longer went through that recess, and it'll actually ribbon over the supporting ply that goes across the roof. And because it was ribbon over, it was naturally just kind of like hooking around, and then just that exposed the cable for a screw to go through. Oh, the stupid things you do when you're tired. Ugh. So I'm gonna strip back this cable and replace it with another piece. Do some testing properly this time, just to make sure it's flawless, and fingers crossed it works, because I don't want to do it again. Cool, so it's a new day, what can I say? So I'm going to carry on, see where we get to. Okay, so I'm just finishing off the fan vent. So what I've done is I ended up ripping this piece of cladding down here to size, so it was actually completely flush. And then the end timbers here, I made sure that I actually cut to length. Unfortunately, I was going to just route this off, trim it off around the outside, but the router broke. So I've had to do it a slightly different way. So yeah, literally just done it to the size. So it's a little bit more faffy, but you know, that's the way it is. And this one luckily actually finished flush to there, so that's why you can see the recess in the cladding. And then I ended up cutting some small bits to go on the end here, and then a tiny one which finished just at the end, which is really cool. So along this, this is all going to be, this is going to have a board that comes across here, so that's actually going to cover up any imperfections that are in there, but it's, you know, it's pretty neat anyway. So really what I need to do now is stick the fan on and give it a bit of a test, just to make sure it all works. Okay, so I'm just getting ready to actually fit the extension kit. We've had to get an extension kit because of the distance it is from the roof, in order to actually get to the actual panel that's under here, because it sits just in there. So the extension kit comes with, you can see the extending arm there, this little sort of grommet seal, and then a choice of extenders depending on obviously how far away you are from the actual vent itself. So I'm going to be sticking this on, so I've literally going to be going into the flat side of the vent itself onto the screw, like so, and that should be enough for our vent to actually sit into it quite nicely. So I'm going to fit that and we'll have a look. Alright, so the extender is in, and it's nice and solid. It's all screwed on nice and in place there. So I've tested that with the actual fan up there, and it seems to be the right sort of distance apart. So that's really good. If I fail, then I can actually always put a little extender on, which came part of the kit there. So moving on from there, I'm going to hook up the electrics in order to obviously be able to test this out. So it has a little circuit board on the actual fan itself, so you've got to be dead careful when you're handling this, because that's all exposed, and you can see how many delicate bits and pieces there are on that circuit board. It's not protected anyway, so just be very careful, otherwise you'll easily damage that, and there's a lot of money going down the Swanee if you obviously damage it. So okay, so there's a diagram on from the side here which displays M plus and M minus. So just find M plus and M minus on there, so that's that white housing there. And then you've got the battery side of things, so the main sort of electrical feed, which will come to this sort of green housing here, and there's your positive and the negative. And make sure you get these the right way around, because I don't think it's reverse pole protected, so you just got to make sure you get it the right way around, and just test it before you hook it up to the battery to get that right. But like I say, there's a real simple diagram on there just to emphasize getting it right, and then fingers crossed that'll work out well. So that'll be the electrics. Once I've hooked that up, we will I'll talk through how I'm going to fix it to the roof. Okay, so you've got M plus and M minus. So this is the cable that goes to the fan itself. So this white cable here. So it's got a handy plus and a minus on it. So that's linked to your M side of things, your motor. So that's what you'll actually hook up to this white terminal. And then the green one, of course, is the main battery feed, which in my case I've got positive, negative, and it's like a purple sort of protective sheath that runs through the panelling down here, and then comes out to where a switch will be eventually there. Okay, so I've hooked up my electrics then into the actual panel itself, and then I've also turned on my my electrical feed as a sort of test wire, because I don't have a switch at the moment, so literally just without a switch, just a straight feed through. And then let's do a little should do a little test. So on the panel here, it's a touch panel, so you've got you can turn the fan on to come in, bring the air in, or take the air out like an extractor. So to bring the air in, you should press this button. There we go. Wicked. Lights are coming on. And then you can use this polar control, so that'll actually regulate what sort of temperature that you actually want in the van, or you can operate yourself and increase the speed. Oh, that's wicked. It's so quick. Oh my god. It's almost like it wants to take off. Can you hear that? Oh my god! I love it. Okay, that's a demo over then, so I know that the electrics work. So what I can do now is prepare to stick it to the ceiling. Now for that I've got somewhere some screws somewhere. Okay, so these are the screws that I've got, and as you can see they are tiny little things, and the reason why they're tiny is because they've got to fit in these little sections here. So I had to get some smaller screws, but also just small, shallow enough to actually just go into the actual cladding itself rather than all the way through, etc. So these are the ones I've got. So I need to install those into the actual fan vent itself. Now, word of warning with this, just don't go a little bit too crazy because it's made of plastic and you're using screws. If you go a little bit too quickly, you'll end up just cracking the plastic because it's a screw. Okay, so just take it nice and steady, and then if you're feeling a bit nervous, then maybe just hand tighten it until you actually come to flush finish. So let's get this tightened up. Right, so to finish it off then, you've got these little caps that can fit on the end of the actual fan itself once the screws are in. So it's a nice little feature actually, finish it off really well. Absolutely love this fan, amazing. Can't wait to properly use it now. So that's the fan vent in. Just going to get these covers up, and that should be a wrap there. Okay, so we have the fan vent in now. So this is what it's looking like at the moment. So the roof cladding's all up, lights are in, and that's kind of what the fan vent looks like from the back. Let's have a look around, the proper look at it. And this is what it looks like from underneath. So let's give it a trial run, eh? So you've got this control panel here, and then you've got the up and down, so we can make the vent go up, like so, let a bit more light in as well. That's the fan vent up. So you've got this touch panel, so we can either go air coming in, come on focus, there we go, air coming in or air going out. So if we go air coming in, press it once, the lights come on, and then we can increase the fan by pressing this one. How mad is that?